Good morning, grade 8. We have a new lesson today, chapter 10, lesson 2 in algebra 1. The lesson is called frequency and histograms. Frequency and histograms. The objective in this lesson is to create stem and leaf plots and to create frequency tables and histograms. So today we're going to learn two new way of collecting data, which is stem and leaf and frequency tables and histograms. Okay, the first one is a stem and leaf plot. A stem and leaf. What is this name? Let's know more about a stem and leaf. A stem and leaf plot arranges data by dividing each data value into two parts. This allows you to see each data value. Again, a stem and leaf plot arranges data by dividing each data value into two parts. This allows you to see each data value. For example, I have 23. The last digit of a value is called a leaf. The last digit of a value is called a leaf, which is the ones digit. Okay, the ones digit is the last digit of a value is called a leaf. The last digit of a value is called a leaf. Digits, the digits other than the last digit of each value are called a stem. So I'm going to divide any number. If the number is 2-digit number or 3-digit number, whatever it is, I'm going to divide it into two parts. The last part and the other part. The last part is called leaf. And the digits other than the last digits of each value are called a stem. What if I have one like this, like 231? It would be like this. I can write it in many ways. You're going to learn all the ways later. But I'm showing you that I can divide it like this. The last digit, the leaf here, and the other digits on the other side. Okay? And I will give it a key. The key is 2 and this line and 3 means 23. The key tells you how to read each value. The key tells you how to read each value. Okay, girls? So, let's watch here the first video.
A lot of times data comes in a variety of different ways.
You can see it, girls, right? Yes? Okay, if you cannot see it, say that you can't.
And we sometimes want to actually see the frequency of how often we're getting sort of data together. So let's take a look at an example and see how we can analyze this particular data set. So the number of visitors to each exhibit at a museum are given below. And so here we have 57, 65, 89, and so forth, lots of things. How am I going to get a sense of how that data is sort of clustered? Well, one thing we can do actually is generate what's called a stem and leaf plot. So let me actually show you what a stem and leaf plot is, because this stuff is something you will not believe. All right, so a stem and leaf plot basically says I want to focus on the first digit as my stem and the rest of their digits as my leaves, And that way I can get a sense of how the numbers are distributed. So if we look through this, we see that the smallest number appearing as a first digit is 5.
The first important point that you have to do, girls, that you have to arrange all the numbers from least to greatest. You have to start by the least number. So the least number here, as you can see, is 57. And it can be repeated. So you will learn now what you're going to do if the number is repeated.
We don't have any 40s or 30s or 10s or singletons, so it's 5. So what we're going to do is we're going to start by just writing 5. And now I'm going to look for all the numbers that start with 5 and then just put the rest of their digits here. So here I see a 57, so I put a 7 right here. I see another 57, so I put another 7. And that's it for the 5s. So the way I read this is that this tells me that, in fact, I have 2 numbers that start that are in the 50s. And in fact, the numbers exactly are 57 and 57.
Okay, girls. For example, if you have 57 and 57 and 58, so what you're going to do, you're going to write another 8 here. So you're not going to write it under it. No, you're going to write it in the same line. 5 here and 7, then 7, because 57 is repeated 2 times. 57 is repeated 2 times. So I'm going to write here 7 and 7. And if I have another number that is 50 and 58, 59, whatever, I'm going to write 8 and 9 here.
Teacher, I have a question.
Yes, yes, nice.
If it was a repeated number,
yes, it is a repeat.
Like also, I mean 60s, we put the second digit in leaves from least to greatest, or in any way?
Give me an example.
Like, for example, we have 64, 65, 63. We should put 3, 4, 5, or
yes,
anyway.
We will put 6 here under the 5, okay, under the stem, and under the leaves we're going to put 4, 5, 6, right? Your numbers are 64, 65, 66, right?
Yes.
So I'm going to put 6 under the stem and 4 and 5 and 6 under the leaves. And this is the next example, because if you see the numbers, you have 65, you have 68, you have 68, another one, you have 63. You have many 60s, okay? So, and you have 68 repeated. So you're going to write 2 8s next to each other, okay? But you have to order them from least to greatest, okay? For example, you have 63. You have 68, and no, you have 63, you have 65, you have 68, you have 68. So you're going to write the 6 under the stem, and then you're going to write the 3 under the leaves, and then you're going to write 5, then 8, then 8.
So moving up to the 60s, put a 6 here, and let's see what we got. So I got a 65. I've got a 65. Let's see, is that the smallest one, by the way? Let's go for the smallest one. 63. So let's put a 63. And then I see a 65. So I'll put a 5. That's the next digit. See anything else? I see a 68. So I'll put an 8. And then I see another 68. So I'll put this here. So that means that there are 4 numbers that start in the 60s, 63, 65, 68, and 68. Okay, let's keep going. The next number, let's see if we got any 70s here. Well, I've actually got a 70, so I'll put a 0. I've got a 74, so I'll put a 4. I've got a 76, so I'll put a 6. And I've got a 77. I think that's it for the 70s. And finally, what about numbers in the 80s? Numbers in the 80s, let's see. Well, in the 80s, I see an 82, so I'll put a 2 here. Anything else in the 80s? I see an 84, I'll put a 4. 85, and 89. And so here we get a sense of sort of how the data is sort of clustered. We see that there are, immediately the same number of people in the 60s, 70s, and 80s in terms of the numbers visiting various exhibits. And so you can sort of get a sense of the size of the data by looking at this stem and leaf plot. Now, in fact, if you have lots of data, you can do stem and leaf plots sort of all at once. All right, check it out. The numbers of students in each.
Okay, before going to 3 digits number, let's go back to our book. And do together number, no, not this one. Share screen again. You can see the book now, girls, or no? Girls, you can see the book, right?
Yes.
Okay, so let's see example 1. Okay. Yes. Okay, the numbers of students in each of the elective classes at a school are given below. Use the data to make a stem and leaf plot. Okay, so I have 24, 14, 12, and so many numbers. So the tens digits are the stems and the ones digits are the leaves, because we said that the last digit is always, I'm going to put it in the leaf or leaves. Leaves is the plural of leaf. Then list the leaves from least to greatest within each row. Then title the graph and add a key. Here are the steps that you're going to follow. So first of all, what is the least number here? From those numbers, where are the least number? Who will tell me? The least number is 9. The least number is 9. 9. 9 is only one digit. So how I'm going to write the stem? I'm going to write 0, and in the leaves, I'm going to write 9. Okay? Because 9 is the last digit. I will not write it in the stem. I am going to write it in the leaves. Okay? And I'm going to add 0 before the 9, because adding 0 before any number, it will not affect the number. Adding it after, it will affect, but adding it before, it will not affect. So 9, it is the last digit, so I'm going to write it in the leaves and 0 in the stem. Next, what do I have? I have 12 and 14 and 18 repeated 2 times. So I have ones in the tens. Okay? So I will write 1 in the stem. Next, in the 1, in the after the 1, I have 2 in the 12 here. I have 4 in the 14 here. And I have 18, so I'm going to add 8. And I have 18 here, so I'm going to add 8. So I have 12, 1 and 2. I have 14, 1 and 4. I have 18, 1 and 8. And I have another 18, which is 1 and 8. Let's go to the 20th. So in the 20th, I have the least number in the 20th. I have 23 here. Yes. Yes, so I will write 2 in the stem and 3 in the leaves. Then 4. Yes, I have 2 24. No, I have 3 24. This one and this one and this one. So I'm going to write 4 and 4 and 4. This means I have 2 24, 24 and 24. I have 3 24. And here comes the 25, so I'm going to add 5. And here comes the 27, so I will add 7. And here comes the 28, so I add 8. So when I read it, I have 23, 24, 24, 24, and 25, and 27, and 28. What about the 30s? I have only 32 and 34. So I'm going to write the 30 in the stem and the 2 here. in the leaves and the 4 here in the leaves. So I have 32 and 34. So it is so easy if you have 2-digit numbers. It is so easy if you have 2-digit numbers. You're going to put the ones digit under the leaves and the tens digit under the stem. And it is so easy to collect all the numbers then. Okay, girls? Then you have to write the key. Here comes the key. Key. Choose any number like 2, like 23. How I read it? 2, line 3. If you want to write another key, it's up to you. You can write it like this, 1 and 2, and put the line in between them. And you're going to write means 12. Okay, girls? Let's continue.
Teacher, you mean that it's not necessary to be 23?
No, it's not necessary. You can use any other number. You can use 23, you can use 24, you can use 25, you can use 12, 14, 18, 34, 32, whatever. But write it correctly. Write it in this form. What is necessary is to write it in this form. Okay?
Okay.
Let's complete the rest of the video where it is. Okay.
A lot of times data comes in a variety of different ways, and we sometimes want to actually see the frequency of how often we're getting sort of data together. So let's take a look at an example. Numbers in the 80, various 277, 5, 200. Lots of data. The numbers of students in each section of biology and calculus at a large university are given by these huge numbers. So biology, different sections, 245, 270, 286, and so forth. Calculus, 277, and so on. How can we make sense of this data and see sort of clustering? Well, since there's 2 data sets here, what we could actually do is what's called you've guessed it, a back-to-back stem and leaf plot. Now, how does this work? Well, here we write the beginning of the quantity here, and then put the tail, so this is going to be the stem part, and then put the leaf part here, with the understanding that we're also going to be putting leaf parts here for biology. So we'd have them sort of going in 2 different directions. Let's try it for ourselves, and you'll see exactly what I mean. I'll elect, since I'm trying to find something interesting here, if I just put a 2 here, look at the first digit, it wouldn't be interesting at all, because all of these things would be right there on the 2 line.
Here, he mixed together the 2 tables in one table. Okay, if it is hard for you, you can separate the 2 tables together. But here in this example and in the book, they mixed it in one table. Okay, they put here the stem in the middle, and to the right the leaves for the calculus, and to the left the leaves for the biology.
So I better use 2 digits for this particular data set, and that's the power of analyzing data, is to figure out what's the appropriate stem to use. So let's start with the smallest 2-digit prefix we see, which is 23. And then I'll just increase 24, 25, 26, 27, and 28. Now, we'll start with biology, and we'll start to fill this in. So we'll do this side of the stem and leaf plot first. So what does that mean now? It means that I'm looking for numbers that begin 230 something for biology. Well, there's 231, so I'll put a 1 here. Now you have to understand what this means. It means that technically I'm reading this 231. You see, don't read it as 123. That's new. 231. Anything else? I think that's it. All right. What about 240 something? 240, there's 1, 2, and that's it. So I'm getting here, I'm seeing that 1 ends in a 5, and 1 ends in a 0. So again, what does that mean? It means we have 245, 240. You get the idea now. How about 250 something?
You see, girls, he is moving to the left in the biology, and when he will start the calculus, he will move to the right. And as we said that, the leaves, we write only the last digit, but in the stem, we can write other digits. That's why in the definition, they wrote other digits. But only the stem, I write one digit. So you will tell me, teacher, but in the here we write 0 and 5, 0, 5. 0, 5, which means 240 and 245. I didn't write 15. I didn't write 0, 5, or 50. No, 0, 5, which means 240 or 245. So make sure and focus on this point that the stem you can write 1 digit, 2 digits, 3 digits, whatever you want, but in the leaves you have only to write 1 digit.
No, so I just leave that blank. Don't write anything in there. If you wrote a 0, of course, that would mean that you'd have 250. So just write nothing there. What about 260 something? 267. 267. 261. So put that in there, okay? What about 270 something? I have 270 even. And that's it. And then finally, 280 something, 286, and that's it. So you see, this is 286. So we can see right away what's the sort of most popular sort of size. It certainly is clear it's going to be 260 something. 260 something. We have 3 sections that are 260 something, and the least popular is 250s because there's no one there. What about calculus? Let's do calculus. Now this one we just sort of do as we normally would do. So 230 blank. 235.
You see, girls, he tried. Then he started to write to the right when he is calculating the calculus.
39, and that's it. 240, 242, 250 doesn't exist, so I leave it blank. 260, 268. So remember what this means. It means that we have 2 entries here, 260, 268. What about 270, 277, 275, and that's it. And what about 280, 281, and that's it. So again, you can see here that what's the most popular one for calculus doesn't quite jump out at you anymore because it seems like there are, 2 sections that are in the 230s, there are 2 sections in the 260s, and there are 2 sections in the 270s. But with biology, one does stand out. There are 3 sections in the 260 enrollment level. So you can see that using this wonderful back-to-back stem and leaf plot, we can actually gain
back-to-back. You see, girls, he said back-to-back because he mixed the 2 tables together. That's why he said back-to-back. And he wrote the key down. You see, girls?
Lots of information growing out of stems.
Okay, girls. If we're going to solve this one together, Marty's and Bill's scores for 10 games of bowling are given below. So I have 2, Marty's and Bill's. Okay, Marty's and Bill's. So this one, you're going to learn 2 new things. The first one is that we have 3-digit number and we have 2 back-to-back, as he said, back-to-back leaves. Not only 3 digits, no, and only back-to-back. So as we said that in the stem, we write any other numbers, not the last digit. The last digit is only written in the leaves. Any other digits are written in the stem. So if I will start by Bill, okay, girls, Bill, here. I'm going to arrange it from 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 7, we don't have 16. But I have to arrange it. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, girls? Maybe I have 15 in Bill and I don't have 15 in Marty and vice versa. I don't know. So write them all, 12 to 16. Then take the number. Why 12? Because 120 and, okay, 129, 124, 128. This is the least number that we're going to start from. That's why I started by 12. So the least number here is 124. Then comes 128 here and 129 here. As we said that we must put only the last digit. It's better to put here comma like the video. It's better to put comma like the video, so to not get confused. So 124, it is represented by 4 here and 12 here. Then 8, then 9. So I can read it as 124, 128, 129. Then comes 130 and, so I will write 13. I have 0, 130, so I will write 0. I have 138, I will put 8, and 139, and I will put 9. It is exactly the same like the previous example, but here I have, the difference is that I have 3 digits. No problem. I put the last one here, and whatever the number of the other digits that I have, I will put here. The last digit I will put here, and whatever the number of the rest digits that I have, I will put in the stem. Then 15, I don't have. I don't have 150, and I don't have. If you look here, I don't have, so I will leave it empty. Then 16, I have 160, I will put 0. I have another 60, no, I don't have. So let's go for Marty. Marty and, don't forget to write the key for Bill. The key for Bill here is, he wrote 141 means 14-1. But he put dash before 14 and a dash after 14 and 1 because it is back-to-back leaves. Okay, girls? So I didn't write it like this problem. 2-3 means 23. No, dash 14, dash or line 14. Line 1 means 141. Opposite is Marty. Okay? Marty, I'm going to start by 120s. So I have 121, 123, 127. So 1 is the last digit, 7 is the last digit, 3 is the last digit. Okay, girls? 1 is the last digit, 3 is the last digit, and 7 is the last digit. So I said that the last digit, I'm going to put it in the leaves, and 12 and or any other digits, I'm going to put it in the stem. So I will put 12 here. I have 121, so I will put 1. I have 123, I will put 3, but in the other direction. In the other direction, because it is like a mirror, in the other direction. Okay, then 7, I will put it to the left. So the new here, or the difference here, that I'm going to put it to the left. Okay? Then comes 130s. So I will put 13 here. Then I have 134, 137. So I write 13 here and the last digit, which is 4 here, and 7 to the left. Then 140s. I have 143 and 149. So I write 14 here in the stem and 3 to the left and 9 to the left. 15, I don't have 150s. 160s, I have 162, 167, 168. So I'm going to put 8 and 6 and 2 and 7 and 8, the last digits. I'm going to put them in the leaves and put the other digits that are left, which is 16, under the stem part. I have two keys. Two keys. Why? Because I'm reading one from left to right and I'm reading one from right to left. That's why I have to write two keys. The first one is line 14, line 1 means 141, or 3, line 14, line 1, which also means 143. Let's write another key. Like line, I will write the line later. 12, line 4 means 124. Where do I put it? I will put it here. Okay, where is the line? I will write it here. Okay, and I will write the other key under it. 1, line 12, line means 121. Opposite. You can choose the key as you want. It's up to you. Okay, girls, it's easy lesson, but it needs focusing and concentrating and ordering the numbers well. And the most important point that you have to focus on, that you must put only one digit under the leaves and the rest of the digits under the stem. One digit, put it under the stem. 2 digits, put them under the stem. And to learn how to write the key in its correct form. Okay, girls, we're going to continue the rest of the lesson tomorrow. You have any questions?